What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And it's time to talk about YouTube policy changes once again. I don't like making these videos, but man, they keep giving me reasons to. So we're just going to keep pumping them out as long as they make me. This is involving a new policy change that YouTube seems to be wanting to enforce that's going to affect gameplay reviewers, gameplay commentators, let's players, and things along that lines. And this video is going out to three groups of people. Number one, it's going out to the content creators like you and I. This is for you guys. It's also going out for the people who are the end users, you, the people watching this. You guys may not be aware of this issue, and I want to get you aware of this issue because it's a really important one. Mostly, it's going out to the folks who make these games, who own these corporations, and are making the decision to enforce these policies because you're making a huge mistake. And we're going to talk about that quite a bit. First off, I want to say that I'm not here to argue copyright law. I'm not here to argue DMCA rules. I'm not here to tell YouTube how to do its job. I'm not here to tell corporations how to enforce their copyrights. That's for the lawyers. That's for the courts. That's certainly not for me. And I'm going to ask you politely not to DMCA this one, please, through that very easily abusable system. What I will say is that I'm here to talk about the people that are going to be affected by these policies changes and how they're going to be affected, including yours truly, including the viewer at home, including all of the people that create content on YouTube every day. First off, we have to acknowledge that YouTube is not just in the business of allowing its users to create videos, share them, and earn money by advertisements appearing on them. YouTube is also in the business of copyright enforcement. They protect the copyright holder. And it doesn't matter who that copyright holder is. If it's a little old person like me or a big old corporation who makes mind-numbingly amazing movies or video games or songs, they are there to protect the copyright holder. And this is important for two big reasons that a lot of people don't really understand. The first is because if someone like me or someone like Microsoft creates a product worth paying for or worth setting through advertisements for, we deserve the income that video or that game or that thing generates. And if people are willing to set through an ad to see it or pay money to see it, you bet your bottom dollar I deserve that revenue, not somebody else. So does Sony, so does Microsoft, so does any big corporation that creates that thing. No one, I think, can argue against that. All of us are in accordance, whether you're a lawyer for the studios, a lawyer for YouTube, or a content creator or an end user, it doesn't matter. The other reason this is so important to YouTube is simple, because of liability. If something were to be shared inappropriately and incorrectly, they would be liable for any damages that were brought to that. So for example, if someone were to upload the last episode of Breaking Bad, which is currently not available on Netflix, and people chose to watch it here, it could devalue Netflix, it could devalue the series, it could ruin their chances of creating DVDs, and YouTube would be held liable, especially if they allowed the user that uploaded that to place advertisements on it so that Google and the user profited. You're talking about a complete and total cluster bomb. So a few years back, YouTube came up with a way to put gameplay commentary and gameplay reviews right on YouTube so that they could profit from it, content creators could profit from it, and it would just be a great thing overall. They decided that they would come up with a system called networking, and you could be partnered with a network which serves as an agent and a go-between, a liaison between you and the company that creates the game. You could play the gameplay commentary, and your network would make sure everything was kosher and everybody was happy. And that worked for a really good long time. And that, to me, I like to call the golden age of gameplay on YouTube. Those 2 years gave birth to some of my favorite content creators, whether it be NerdCube, Total Biscuit, you know who you are out there. Whether it be somebody like PewDiePie, who's the #1 most watched and most viewed YouTuber in existence. Those people all came about because of that decision. And it was a great, great decision. So YouTube has made a decision to change policy, and the details of which are still very dark and deep for a lot of end users and a lot of content creators. Some of the people at the networks know more than we do, but what we're hearing is it's just not good. The one thing that I can tell you about is that the way that we go through a copyright check and a copyright approval system here on YouTube is about to slow down dramatically. They said it could only take a few hours, but it could take several days in order for a video to be approved and released. And what this basically means is that if I were to bring back my Monday mailbag series, you might see it on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday as I wait around for YouTube to approve that video. And what they are looking for, by all intents and purposes, it looks like is gameplay commentary. And if that's the case, that's bad. Lots and lots of gameplay commentators and gameplay reviewers have reported on Twitter today that they have gotten mass numbers of copyright flags, content matching IDs, and basically what it comes down to is they are losing the revenue from the videos they've created. And this is going to affect the industry as a whole, the entire gaming industry, not just YouTube. And the obvious stuff is there. People are going to create less gameplay videos. They're going to work less. They're going to find other things to create and other things to do if they choose to pursue it at all. Some people who've never made it big are going to move on to greener pastures and find something else to do. Many people who are just now trying to make it on YouTube are going to go back into their day jobs, and that sucks. For the user, this means less awesome videos about the games you love. It means less personalities coming out, less people making it to the top, less cool stuff to watch, less cool stuff to do, and less ways to find about awesome new games. And nobody wins with that system. Not the user who wants to watch it, not the content creator who wants to play that game, and certainly not the people who create those games who get additional sales that no one would have ever even thought about had they not seen that gameplay. In fact, Sony, Microsoft, EA, Nintendo, I can personally tell you that of all the video games I bought last year, and feel free to look at my accounts because you know I bought plenty, I did not buy a single one of them without looking up gameplay. And in many cases, I watched people who you don't control, who you don't play. I didn't watch the official gameplay footage. In fact, I avoid that stuff at all costs. What makes me decide whether or not I want to play a game is when I watch a YouTuber sit back, enjoy the game himself, play it for 20 or 30 minutes, and that makes me want to play it. So, now to the game developers, and the people who distribute these games, the people who own the consoles these games appear on. We need your help. Now, I know some of you have decided to go turncoat, and you are against this whole idea. You want that short-sighted dollar, and it is very stupid to want that. You want to enforce your copyright because you somehow find this system to be harmful, and you've never talked to somebody like Notch who will tell you YouTube made his game famous. I'm here to tell you that if you're behind this, if you're the ones pulling this crap with YouTube, stop. This is bad for the entire industry, not just for people like me who create these gameplays, not just for the people who watch it, but for the people who make these games, who generate extra sales from the extra exposure. Step on YouTube's toes. Tell them that you want that gameplay to get out there, because I'll tell you something. If your big name studio and your big budget game doesn't want its gameplay out there, I'll tell you, we'll find someone who does. There are independent creators who are distributing through Steam and through iOS and through all kinds of great systems. And these people want the exposure. They want their game to be played. They want to sit back in their homes and watch people like me play the games they poured their heart and souls into. And I'll tell you something else. The people who make it to the top of YouTube, we all have one thing in common. We know how to adapt. We know how to endure. And right now, we're playing the big blockbuster games that you design. And if you don't let us, tomorrow we will play someone else's. So think about it. Think about what's good for the industry. Don't think about what's good for your bottom line. Step up. And YouTube, how many more of these decisions are we going to have to deal with? Because here's my big concern. A few years back, you made some policy decisions that shook the trust and love that the Creator has with you. And we're scared now. And now you've begun to affect the end user in the same way. They do not trust you anymore. When the advertisers stop trusting you, that's when all this crumbles like a castle built of sand. And that day is terrifying to me because it will literally and genuinely ruin my life.